Pisces, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started, my friends. Let's see what messages we have for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you may have messages there as well. Okay, my friends, let's get started for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What are the messages? What is the energy around Pisces this week? Okay. Pisces. Feels like Pisces is sort of doing a bit of self-examination, a little bit of introspection this week. Feels like you're sort of working through a bit of the more shadow elements in your energy, you know, like sort of looking at some of the things that you carry fear for, you carry shame and guilt, some feelings of not being sort of belonging, sort of feelings of being rejected, feelings of not being able to move forward. And it feels like you're sort of cleaning all of this up this week. Very interesting for the last week of the year. It almost feels like you're moving from a place of a lot of sort of heavy emotions that are sort of associated with feeling like you don't belong, you don't fit in, you feel rejected, you feel cast away, cast aside, forgotten, not seen. A very interesting sort of energies over here, and it's almost like it's truly the darkest before the dawn because, you know, you're really cleaning up some stuff here right before it feels like you step into this new timeline where everything feels just like the opposite almost of how this feels. You know, it's interesting looking at these two cards, even visually looking at them. You can see what I mean. It's almost the opposite, you know, going from this energy in the orphaned card to this energy in the milk and honey card. And it's very interesting. And in between, what lies between those two is conflict and chaos, or chaos and conflict. And, you know, it's interesting. It's almost like you're being guided to really visualize and envision a peaceful place for yourself and what that would look like. And not necessarily how it would happen, but just what it would feel like to have this inner peace wash over you, this stillness that brings you from this feeling of like a lot of lack and a lot of loss and a lot of almost feels like abandonment and rejection all rolled into one where, you know, it's very heavy energy. It almost feels like that is about to lift. You are moving through the shadow right now, and it might feel really dark. It might be feeling like an identity crisis where you don't fit in. You feel like uncertain about where your place is in life and in the world, and you know, you've got all these big questions that you're sort of asking yourself because it almost feels like you feel separate from everything right now. You just feel like you no longer identify with what you're doing or where you're at. And it's almost a grand feeling of loss or confusion. Like there's that feeling to it. And then it's interesting because it's time to move on. And it's like all of these are the indicators that it's time to move on. And then all of a sudden there's all this chaos and conflict that comes into your life to sort of allow you to move on. It creates the scene for you to move on and sort of pushes you into this new timeline where we get to that milk and honey card. And it really feels like whatever conflict or whatever chaos is about to sort of shift you into a new divine order here. This is a reorganization of elements, and it's very, very powerful. And it's getting you to your highest good. You know, this is very positive news. It's perfect timing. And it's like the pressure can't take it anymore. This darkness that you've been sitting in, Pisces, this emotional space where you're sort of feeling again like that. You don't know where you belong. You feel confused. You feel all of these shadow work questions coming up. And then all of a sudden it's like you discover through conflict, through change, through this valuable moment of having this divine reordering, resorting, this powerful moment shifts everything. And it allows you to clean up so much stuff that you've been second guessing about yourself. Oh wow, this is such a powerful first row of cards in your reading. And it's just, I just want to see what the tarot cards are going to say here. But this really feels like you've reached the sort of the next level of some shadow work that you've been working really hard, bringing a lot of these painful things to the surface so that they can be released and transmuted into bliss and joy in this milk and honey card. It feels really positive. Like it feels like you suddenly understand so much about yourself. Yeah, let's see. The tarot cards will reveal. Yeah, 10 of Cups. You're about to move into some serious emotional fulfillment. I mean, Pisces, have a look here. Like, look at that. That's where you're going. That's what's coming up. And it's coming up strong. And it's so emotionally fulfilling, and I think it's just so much more than you could have imagined. And yet, right now, you're like, really? Because that doesn't feel like it right now. But that's what I feel like you must be thinking when I look at these cards. But I feel like all your struggles and obstacles have been necessary to get you to this place, so that you can really experience this massive transformation, this big change. There's the Knight of Swords. Like, this is a big, big change rushing in. The chaos and conflict is reorganizing your life. And it's going to get you to a place where there's that 10 of Cups, and you won't be able to deny this to yourself. Like, there'll be no denying this. And it's almost like you'll have this opportunity for stillness to come into rest, so that you can finally sort of feel like you don't have to be on that. It almost feels like you're on a hamster wheel right now. Like you're trying so hard to make things happen, and it's like I think you realize that it's actually all about the energy vibration. Like, are you sitting in a vibration that is sort of aligning with more challenges and obstacles, or it's almost like you've shifted your energy here to align with fulfillment, and you suddenly believe that you can obtain that if you can sort of visualize it and envision it and feel like you're worthy of it. It's very interesting. The first card to tip over is the Tower. Like, you're about to have some divine reordering, divine resorting. This is changing the arrangement of everything around you. And I think it's actually started with your energy. Like, the shadow work you're doing, you're facing a lot of this stuff that's been buried for years. Like, I almost feel like inner child, past lives. Yeah, like, look at this. You've got the Death card, the Judgment card, and the Page of Cups. I mean, Pisces, you're about to have the bottom come off of everything, and you're going to have a huge realization. I feel like you're going to have a life-changing experience is here. It's life-changing. And both of the bottoms of the deck, look at this. You've got the King and the Queen of Wands on the two decks I'm using, showing up on the bottom. So I feel like everything is about to align with what you've been envisioning. And that this is actually going to be very, very transformative for you. And if you're feeling that energy right now of almost that feeling of being a little bit lost and wondering where is this all headed and where am I going and what's happening and how am I going to get there? And you have all these questions and all of these things coming to the surface for you to try to sort of heal. Like, I think you've been doing some shadow work. There's really no other way to put it. And I feel like whatever you've been envisioning in your imagination of your sort of the highest good, that's what's on its way. The highest good is on its way for you. And I think that you won't even be like, it's like it's going to, even though you've been working on this, it feels like it's going to come out of nowhere. And it's really turning whatever you've been envisioning and imagining, it's turning it into a manifestation. And there's a strong alignment here, very, very strong alignment here. And you're really being guided to stay sort of focused on the idea of abundance and prosperity, and to sort of release any fear. Because right now, if you're anticipating anything fearful, I feel like that is sort of an illusion that could just be sort of remnants of this shadow coming to the surface, trying to sort of right before everything changes. It's almost like it comes to the surface to try to, it's just being released, right? But it feels so real that you could end up sort of feeling worse before you feel better, if that makes sense. But it's important to sort of focus on the idea of being mindful about what you're thinking about and what you're imagining, because it's if it's fear-based, it could be this idea that you're really getting to the core of things. When I see this card, like, you're really getting to the core of things. And I always think that, when you're cleaning your house, if there's a lot of dust and debris on the floor, when you start using your broom, it's going to get swept up and it goes in the air, and it might make you sneeze a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's sort of dust particles all over. It's like, that's what you've done here. By doing the shadow work, you've brought a lot of this stuff up to the surface, and you're feeling a lot of that emotional gunk, that dust. It's in the air now because you've been cleaning and getting to the root of things. And, it's actually setting you free, but you might just, you need the dust to sort of get almost cleaned up. It's all over the sort of, when you clean. I hope that analogy makes sense. It makes sense to me because, when you do shadow work, a lot of stuff comes to the surface. And if you get stuck on it, then, and start to believe that it's real, then it becomes sort of consuming. But the key with shadow work is to always remind yourself that these things are coming to the surface so that you can release them and heal them. And they're not meant to you're not meant to get trapped in them again, Yeah, and seeing all of this, like Tower, Death, Judgment, I mean, you're basically making your way through here to the revelation. And the Page of Cups is in reverse, I think, just because there is a part of you that is still obsessively negatively thinking, and it's coming through here in what you need to surrender. So surrender obsessive thinking and surrender negative thinking, both. I think you're doing both, or they're together, like you're obsessively negative thinking. And it's I think it's because of all the stuff that's coming up from your shadow work here. It says here, if you're obsessing about a person or a situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. I think you're going to experience this revelation here. Surrender negative thinking says you have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing, and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. I just posted a beautiful affirmation from Louise Hay on my Instagram page. The link is in the description below. And it says, all is well. Everything is happening for my highest good. And out of this experience, only good will come. And I am safe. And I have found that affirmation to be very like calming. When you say that, it refocuses you immediately. So go check that out if that'll help you. I have it on a loop in my Instagram. Now we also see here surrender to prayer, and it says give yourself over. Excuse me, let me start that again. Give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard throughout the universe, and answers and support will arrive. And I really feel like that is what's happening here. The guidance that you're getting is really to open things up. Once you've done everything you can to achieve something, it's important then to turn things over without obsessively thinking negatively about them, and being very positive in the affirmations that you're communicating in your correspondence to the universe, because that's what aligns that's what you're aligning to, right? What a fascinating reading, Pisces. I really hope that this has resonated for you out there. And please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Let me know how it's resonated for you. And I look forward to reading for you again very soon, my friends. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.